Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Depending on which continent you are joining this morning, afternoon, and evening, please know how appreciative I am that you are here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Religious Education Association's annual meeting of 2021. My name is Boyung Lee. I feel profoundly honored and privileged to serve as the program chair of this annual meeting. I join you this morning, my time, from Denver, Colorado, a city in the western part of the United States, and also a city established during the gold rush in the Western America at the cost of countless indigenous people's lives and on the back of Chinese railroad workers. Therefore, I want to begin our gathering with this land and history acknowledgement. The land on which I reside is the traditional territory of the Uti, Cheyenne, and Arapaho peoples. This area was also the site of trade and hunting and gathering and healing for many other Native nations, including the Lakota people and Apache people, Shoshone people, and many others. I honor elders past, present, and future, and those who have stewarded this land throughout generations. I also recognize that government, academic, and cultural institutions, including the ILIF's Global Theology, for which I serve as the academic dean, were founded upon and continue to enact exclusions, erasures of indigenous peoples. May this acknowledgement demonstrate a commitment to working to dismantle ongoing legacies of oppression and inequities and recognize the current and future contributions of indigenous communities and other minoritized people by structural violence in this globe we reside in. So it is wonderful to be with you all throughout this week, and I so look forward to learning from and with you this week. We are here from all over the world. REA has members in 6 different continents, and this week, over 140 of us from 11 different countries and 13 different time zones, that's the count that I did as of this past weekend, are sharing our research, building relationships, and envisioning religious education for our time through the theme of gender, sexuality, and wholeness in religious education. Although I so wish to be with you in person, I am also grateful for this virtual conference that brings our colleagues who otherwise could not have joined us in our annual meeting. At the same time, I also want to recognize the fact that our diverse contexts are not always equally regarded in the entangled global system we live in, particularly this tumultuous time of a global pandemic that shows even bigger gaps between the global north and south, often backed by white Christian nationalism and supremacy. We also come to this meeting in the midst of Black Lives Matter justice movement, skyrocketing hate crimes against the people of Asian heritage, brown and Black people crossing borders for life and yet labeled as illegal humans, ceaseless use of words and violence, disregarding and devaluing people because of their sexuality and gender identity. It is not my intention to begin our gathering with this grim picture of our world. Rather, my intention is to highlight the importance of our ongoing work and this particular gathering. Because of what is going on in our world, people like you and me, committed religious education scholars and practitioners, are even more needed, and our work is even more demanded. We are the people who are consciously approach teaching and learning as a holistic endeavor, recognizing human wholeness that includes our body, our sexuality, and our desire and our relationships with our loved ones. And we are committed to respect and nurture the wholeness of a people and as who they are. Therefore, in this age of a global Me Too movement, ceaseless news of sexual abuse by religious leaders, conflicts and divisions of religious institutions over gender and sexuality, increasing hate crimes against the people with non-heteronormative gender identities, surging and resurging hypermasculine developmentalism that justifies violence against the people in powerless positions. We are urgently called to delve into critical dialogues and studies on human sexuality and gender. For these and other pressing issues of our time, the world is waiting for our leadership and guidance, and thus I cannot wait to learn from and with you this week. And I want to be a more informed teacher and practitioner of gender and sexuality from learning from you. And I want to be a teacher who embodies the human wholeness. So thank you for being here. Thank you for the work you will share throughout this week. As a symbol of our time together this week, I would like to invite you to join me in a virtual ritual coming together. If we met in person at the conference center of the University of St. Thomas in Minnesota as we had originally planned, as an opening and gathering ritual, among many things that I would like to do with you, I would have set a round table in the middle of our plenary hall on which I will have ingredients of bread making or rice cake making as a symbolic act of coming together for us. So I invite you to imagine that we are sitting together in a big circle at a large conference room. So let me invite you to this table. My recipe says, take several kilograms of flour. So here, I bring my flour from my kitchen. I thank you, God, for flour made from wheat or other grain, grown in the mystery of the earth, ripened in the warmth of the sun, ripened, then cut down at the harvest by the farmer's skill, ground by the miller, sold by the shop assistant, placed in the bowl. I thank you, God, for REA community that is like a flower for us. I thank you, Allah, for salt. The salt, which adds flavor to our food, is also antiseptic to our wounds, reminding us of the challenge to our life and the healing power of our work as scholars and practitioners of religious education. I thank you, Allah, for REA that is like a salt for many, flavoring our intellectual and spiritual life, healing our own and our neighbors' wounds. I thank you, the divine, for yeast. The small yet living organism that enables the bread to rise, that reminds us of the fact that even small works we have done can enable your shalom for all people to grow. I thank you, the divine, for REA, like a yeast of a bread, the vision of a small group of peoples gathering 118 years ago enabled the community to rise, be abundant, tasty, and bold. I thank you, the Holy, for sugar. Sugar made from a sugar cane that is crushed, shredded, grinded, squeezed, but it's still sweet. Sugar that grabs and holds onto moisture so the bread does not stale quickly and tender for a longer period. Sugar that leavens bread to spread to have its shape. I thank you, the Holy, for sugar, for REA being sweet ingredients of a life-giving collegiality and friendship for many of us, which allows us to honor the dignity of each person we accompany in their learning journey, no matter who they are. I thank you, God, for water. Water without which none of us could live. Water which forms the other ingredients of our bread and rice cake into dough, which having risen and been formed and drawn into shape by human hands, is baked to give us the step of life. Water which cleanses and renews us, refreshes and revives us. I thank you, God, for REA, being fresh water for many of us with a renewed hope, ideas, and practices, and for sending us back to the world with a renewed will for education for all. I thank you, God, for bread we will metaphorically bake together this week. Bread, the basis of the food we eat. Rice, the basis of the food we eat. Bread for our intellectual breakfast. Bread for needed energy in the middle of a long and hard day. And bread that is shared with one another that sustain our intellectual curiosity, heart connections, and embodied teaching for people. I thank you, God, for many new loaves we will bake together this week. So this week, as we metaphorically bake bread together for the world, for people who need our guidance, and for ourselves, may this bread-making time be enriching experience for all of us. And thank you and welcome. So colleagues, as I said, I don't know how thrilled I am that I could express this with you on this screen, but thank you so much for making the time and coming together and being with us and being with one another. So one of the many ways that we could share our ideas together, of course, we all here could go to any sessions that is open to all of us and learn from each other. But another ones that I am interested to know about your minds and heart, what's going on, is by sharing your thoughts and images and music or artwork you do, or whatever reflections that come to your heart and mind through Padlet. So here I just shared the link to REA2021 Padlet, And let me share my screen to show you what it's like. Here, Home tab. So this is REA Padlet that we have created. So here, several of us already posted something. And one of the nice things about Padlet is that you can create your account and then or you can show your identity, or you can just create a box by clicking that fuchsia or magenta color plus sign, and then you will see this new box popping up, and you can share whatever is in your mind and heart, and whatever comes to your mind. So you can share a web link, you can share pictures, you can upload the documents. And so here I put some of the ways that you can share your ideas here. And so in my own Padlet box, I also added my own picture. But if you don't feel like it, you can you want to share who you are, but want to share your whatever it's in your mind and heart, you can just type or share image and then post it without showing your identity. So throughout this week, several of us will pay attention to it and want to know what's in your mind. And so some of the reflections you share in this page will become one of the resources for my closing reflection. So let me stop sharing my ideas here.